big question for you. Should companies be forced to publish the wages earned by their male and female staff? David Cameron believes it will help abolish unequal pay in the workforce, but some argue there's no problem to solve. Let's get more on this with writer and broadcaster Milo Yiannopoulos and journalist and author Nikki Hodgson. Ladies first. Nikki, what do you think?
I think it's a great idea. It's brilliant that David Cameron hasn't embraced this initiative, which I actually think came from Labour originally. It doesn't need to be a finger-pointing exercise. I think that's the main point to make. This is just a really good chance to look at how boosting women's earning power can boost the economy. I think the issue is that women tend to take, lower paid work, more part-time work. In these kinds of companies, that's not the case. But what it is going to show is how women are not very good at pushing themselves forward sometimes in the corporate environment, and they really struggle to ask for what they're worth. And that is a problem for all of us, because ultimately that affects the economy, it affects the earning potential of these companies.
You disagree, Milo?
Well, actually, I think it's a great idea, but not for the same reasons. The problem is that what most people don't realise, the gender pay gap is a sort of myth. No economist takes it seriously. The ONS figures come from broad church sort of averages across the workforce, and when you take into account the different choices women make, whether or not you include children in that, actually the pay gap narrows to zero. So I'm in favour of this only because it's going to really embarrass these campaigners who constantly tell women that they're victims and that they're suffering under this sort of patriarchal society. Actually, women and men get paid pretty much the same, to the point of a couple of percent. So I am in favour of it, but only because it's going to explode one of the most persistent feminist myths of our time, the gender pay gap.
Nikki, it amounts to zero, this pay gap.
No, I don't think that's true at all.
Milo, the latest figures, percentages suggest that the gender pay gap currently stands at 19.1%, which means a woman on average earns 80p for every pound a man earns.
Well, the Office for National Statistics figures are based on 1% of an average right the way across the industry, so they don't take into account the different kinds of jobs people are doing, so really they're effectively meaningless. But there's a very simple question that demonstrates why the whole debate is nonsense and why the pay gap is a ridiculous sort of fabrication. And it's this: if women are doing the same work for less money, why aren't companies full of women? Why aren't employers going out actively seeking women? Well, they don't, and they don't for some of the same reasons that women take different sorts of roles and different part-time roles. Women don't work as long hours as men do, even if they don't have children. They take longer holidays. They don't make as much money for their firms. They don't work the same overtime. So we can't really expect them to be compensated the same as men when they don't work as hard. Now, that's not, I don't mean that to sound, unkind about women. Women simply have different priorities in life. Most women want a more balanced life. They want time with their family. They want to do hobbies. They want more time away on holiday. They don't want to put in the work that those sort of obsessive, aggressive, sort of goal-oriented male professions sometimes demand. The law, for example. Women just aren't really interested in devoting their whole life to work in that way. And the very broad brush figures from the ONS simply reflect that. What they don't show is that a woman going to the workplace is going to be paid less than a man for the same. In fact, under the age of 35 in the UK and the US, women are paid more in the same sorts of roles, and they're 2 to 1 more likely to get jobs in science and maths because employers are so desperate to hire women.
Nikki's not generalising at all there about how hard women work.
No, exactly. I think there's hundreds of women that won't be watching this programme because they're too busy working in order to argue with that point. I don't think that's true at all. What we really have is a social problem, a problem where we expect women to take the burden of family care, to care for elder relatives, and so as a result they often end up working less hard, as Milo puts it, because what they're doing is they're working second shifts, third shifts, caring for other people. What we need is a culture change to allow women to be able to work just as hard as men if they so choose, and that isn't happening yet. But what would be good, about publishing these results is that it would pave the way for a conversation about how society is structured, so that women aren't able to function as highly as men are in some professions.
Oh, you were too gentle with him. Milo, are you suggesting for 1 second that I do not work as hard as my male colleagues? I take more time off than my male colleagues.
Well, I think,
and I am not in any way as committed as my male colleagues.
I think, and I mean this in the nicest and most complimentary way possible, you're probably atypical in most respects as a sort of workaholic of either gender. You're probably not typical of women. You're probably not typical of anyone in the kind of work that you do. What I'm talking about is not, bashing women for not putting in the hours. What I'm saying is, in general, women look for different things from life. So they look to fulfill themselves, to flourish in slightly different ways. And of course, if you take if you look at the end statistics about pay, they're going to reflect that. That's not necessarily a problem. Now, when people lose the economic argument, they always switch to the social argument, as your other guest just did. And unfortunately, the problem is that a lot of this is underpinned by this sort of constant victimhood complex that women are encouraged to buy into. They're given this victimhood script about, whether it's rape culture on campus or pay under the average, under the male average. And most of it's based on ridiculous sort of social science studies that don't stand up to the most basic scrutiny. Most of it simply isn't true. And I think the majority of women don't want to be patronised, don't want to be given special privileges, don't want to be given special dispensation. They want to go out to the workplace, be paid what they're worth, and of course, if they want to raise a family, they're not going to get to be CEO, or not going to get to, raise to be a partner in a law firm. You can't have it all. You can't do all of these things. And what really sort of frustrates me, and I think frustrates a lot of ordinary women who, find these sorts of debates a bit dull and a bit mystifying, is that there's some sort of somehow implication always behind the scenes that being, that motherhood is a bad thing, and that it's a bad thing for a woman to aspire to raise a family and to be a mother. Actually, it's sort of one of the most extraordinary things that anybody can accomplish and anybody can do. But there's this sort of assumption that, if you do that, then we've got to make sort of special dispensation when you go back to work and pay you more and give you all these benefits and whatever, rather than celebrating the unique things that women can do in society that men can't.
Absolutely. I've got no time for that argument whatsoever. Women want to do many varied and amazing things for their lives. Motherhood might be part of that. But, again, if that's such a wonderful thing to do, why are men not bending over backwards to take time off to raise their children? They're not, because the culture is not set up to encourage men to share the load of care. Women, even when they're married and working, do more domestic chores than men do. We've seen these surveys time and time again. And I think it's really insulting to say that women, might not be as inclined to work as hard or want different things from life. There are plenty of women who are hugely ambitious. Just look at the number of graduates that we have now. Women are outstripping men. They're getting better degrees. What we haven't seen yet is culture change to accommodate and to reflect that. And I think the other thing is that it tends to be older women often that are also in part-time work positions, but we shouldn't just leave them to flounder. They're often picking up care bills for elderly parents as well as looking after children and the rest of their families. So, I just think Milo's argument is ridiculous that women, shouldn't be paid as much because they want other things from life.
OK, Milo, we've been given more time, so you're going to have to work even harder. It's more than 40 years since the Equal Pay Act. And yet still, it is a fact that women do not earn as much as men.
No, I'm sorry, it's not a fact. You can only say that if you take broad brush averages across all industries and all genders, and you can say the amount of money going to women is a bit less.
Well,
it's not. I mean, for one thing, it's illegal to pay a woman less than a man for the same work.
Interrupt him, Nikki. Go on.
No,
it's illegal to pay a woman.
If that's the case, then when these results are published, they won't reveal anything. They won't reveal any difference, but they're going to. That's the point. The whole reason David Cameron is encouraging it.
I want them to be published, because what they're going to show is that at all stages, all else being equal, the genders are paid the same. Or even what they might show, you're saying the culture hasn't changed. I think your argument's 20 years out of date. The culture has changed, which is precisely why there are more women going to university, more women graduate from university, they're getting higher grades, there are 2-to-1 favoured when they go for job applications, particularly in science and technology, and they're paid more, depending on whose figures you believe, up to the age of 30, 35 or 39, it's probably about 35, women are paid more than men.
But
so
when you say
whatever
wage
gender
work,
pay
Mike,
gap you're
still not
talking about
making-
has already been fixed.
But it hasn't.
So the
It hasn't. That's
good
the
news
point.
the good news for you is that there isn't a problem anymore, although there used to be, and that if we do release these figures, which I'm very excited about, they're going to prove me right. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But that's not true. I mean, the point is the gap is there still, and older women in particular suffer more from it from younger women. We shouldn't just leave older women, to flounder, should we? Just because they were part of a generation where it was even more difficult for them to get on.
I'm making a specific explanation about where these figures come from, and you haven't really addressed the point that I'm making. What I'm saying is that you can only create this gender gap when you take a broad brush across all genders, all sectors, all work. That doesn't reflect the different choices people make, and employers shouldn't be forced to pay a full-time salary to somebody who works part-time. You haven't come up with a solution to that, and you haven't addressed the problem with the figures, which is that no serious economist treats the gender pay gap as a problem to be solved. No economist thinks this is a problem because they realise what I'm explaining.
Is that male economists or female economists, just to be clear?
Well, I mean, where I get most of my figures on this from is from a feminist female academic, Christina Hoff Sommers at the American Enterprise Institute in the US, who looks at the figures from the UK and the US, and she does a broad survey of all economists, I'm sure of all genders, but my source for this sort of stuff is generally Christina Hoff Sommers. So she is a female feminist academic who is mystified that this is this sort of feminist myth that won't die.
Good for her. Nikki, final thought to you.
I just think that we need to see the figures published, because then we can start analysing the data. Publishing the numbers without any analysis of it is obviously going to be a waste of time and no use. But I think David Cameron should be applauded actually for this move.
We can agree on that much.
OK. You've both worked equally hard. Both of you submit your invoices. You both get paid the same. Thanks very much indeed for joining us here on Sky News this afternoon. Thank you.
Peter and Brendan stood up here and complained that us students, people like Tim and me, are engaged in a discourse of censorship, that we want to silence them. I mean, funny, you don't seem very silenced. For a start, you're here. For a second, you still have your national newspaper columns. Apparently, I don't read them, but people tell me they're still out there. So what you're really saying is that, not that we're trying to silence you, but that we have the audacity to try and erode the platform that our racist and misogynistic society has given to two privileged white men. That is what we are guilty of doing. What you are saying is you personally have a right to that platform, which other people are not given, that you personally should maintain hegemony over that platform. What we are saying is move the hell over. Other people deserve that platform. Other people who are not white, who are not men, and who are not of the people that you call privileged. Move over. And in order to do that, you have to create a space where those people can actually enter into that discourse. What I want to talk about, oh no, thank you, is the discourse of hypocrisy. Because when they stand up here and say that they're engaged in free speech and they want free speech for everyone, they are actively denying the discourse of censorship that they are involved in. Brendan, when he refuses to recognise trans people's preferred pronouns and actively misgenders them in his national newspaper columns, is engaged in a discourse of censorship. He is saying, this is language to which I object. People calling themselves she when I think they are male is a language to which I object. I'm not going to recognise it, and I'm going to say that it is wrong. That is engaging in a discourse of censorship. It's also so arrogant to engage in that discourse when you are not a stakeholder in it. It matters nothing to you whether or not a trans person chooses to identify in whatever way, but you are so arrogant as to think that you are allowed to censor them from doing that. Utterly repulsive. No, thank you. I'm coming to you, don't worry. Peter Hitchens, when you write that a discourse of Islam is what causes Muslim men to rape, you are engaged in a discourse of censorship. You are saying that the discourse of Islam is something that is wrong, something that should not be allowed, something that you object to. Yeah, go for it.
Is it not true that to have a different opinion isn't the same as telling other people that they shouldn't have or they can't have that opinion?
Absolutely not. No. a difference of opinion would work. A difference of opinion would be for Peter to say, I am not a Muslim, but others can be. That is a difference of opinion. A difference of opinion is for Brendan to say that I am not someone who is a transsexual, but other people, if they are, that is something that I respect. That is difference of opinion, and I'm going to talk to you exactly why this engages in this discourse of censorship. Fundamentally, the purpose of free speech is an instrumental good. It's not like, because if you're saying something to yourself in your room, it's meaningless. It's about creating meaning for societal change. So what Brendan wanted to talk about when he was like, lags, mags, that's equal to what Shelley did. I mean, whatever. But the purpose then is to further democracy. It's to say, be able to challenge power and to be able to speak truth to power. It's not about being able to shut other people out. And the problem is that the platform at the moment isn't equal. It's not the case that we all have the same privileges, that we all have the same access to national newspaper columns, that we are all listened to. I mean, the fact that we're all here and so privileged and other people are not invited demonstrates that there's an act of privileging people when you give them a platform. And the problem is that when you engage in the discourse that these men do, when you say that other people are lesser, that their choices are lesser, and those are the people that are least privileged in their society, that is when they are unable to engage in our discourse. What we want to do on our side is to even the platform, and to say if you need to do that, you can't engage in racist language, and you can't engage in sexist language. That's something we're okay with, because we think the voice of ethnic minorities and women is more important than the right of these men to be misogynistic and racist. That's something we incredibly stand for on our side. Okay, so you're not a sexist. So lads mags aren't sexist. The problem is that these men have the ability to denigrate people within their national newspaper columns. They can say that trans people are lesser, that their choices are lesser, that ethnic minorities shouldn't be welcomed in our society. No, thank you. But other people don't have the ability to denigrate them in the same way. An unemployed black trans woman does not have the ability to reply to Brendan O'Neill in a national newspaper column. Moreover, she is incredibly less likely to do so when that national newspaper column creates a discourse in a world that she is not welcome, that her choices are not welcome, and that she is not respected. Brendan complains about the fact that this are white people who are representing the rights of black people, etc. And the whiteness of Oxford and the Union is incredibly deplorable, but probably more explicable when we have a president who thinks it's acceptable to invite Marine Le Pen. Sorry, Lisa. We want to create an atmosphere on our side where we actually have all people have freedom of speech, and that has to be facilitated by a welcoming atmosphere. And the problem is that offence actively perpetuates censorship of marginalised groups. Why? Because the lads mags that Brendan wants to talk about are the things that perpetuate a discourse that women's voices in the public sphere are less worthy. It's the sexist discourses that you get in lads magazines which create the atmosphere in which men think it's legitimate to tell women who publish on the internet, to tell women journalists and women politicians that their voices are less meaningful, to sexualise and denigrate the appearance of women. And this is the thing that stops women from speaking out, stops women being on the internet. This is the thing that creates Gamergate, where men think it is legitimate to threaten women with violence if they don't shut up. And this is the discourse to which you are actively participating. And that is the problem. It means that all of these people whose voices should be heard in a principle of freedom of speech are not heard. I'll take you now. No? No PR1?
Yes,
Go
indeed.
for it.
Yeah, you said at the beginning that you didn't read our columns, and it's absolutely evident from what you've said this evening that you don't.
Okay. So, don't worry, I do my research. And the thing I'm referring to is when Peter Hitchens said about the rapes that had occurred in Oxford, that obviously the fact that these were Muslims was important, because if you engage in a discourse where you think of other people as infidel and think of other people as lesser, that makes you more likely to be a rapist. That's why Muslims are more likely to be rapists. Exactly what you said.
Where? When?
2013. Look it up. You wrote it. Google it.
I didn't.
Right.
I did,
okay.
You got the wrong person.
The problem is that this is. I mean, obviously, I did my research before the break. That's just moronic to say that I didn't. Check it yourself. You should remember what you write, especially when it's that offensive.
You should get a new search engine.
The reason is that this also leads to harm, right? The reason why this discourse is so instrumental in perpetuating violence is obvious. Because apartheid doesn't make any sense if people aren't engaged in a discourse of racism. It would collapse under its own ridiculousness. It has to be buttressed by that discourse. Homophobic attacks make no sense without a discourse that legitimizes homophobia, without playing into that discourse and being part of that conversation. Transphobic attacks make and all of the trans women and trans men who die in this country and other countries makes no sense without the discourse that Brendan O'Neill specifically perpetuates when he refuses to recognise their chosen gender identity. Islamophobic attacks in the UK make absolutely no sense without a discourse of Islamophobia, without the discourse that Peter Hitchens himself perpetuates.
That is not what a fetus looks like, okay? It's a clump of cells at 12 weeks. It does not look like that. It's a clump of motherfucking cells. No hands are shown for that time. You're just a white fucking privileged racist fucking male that doesn't stand for women's rights.
I want to call the police.
Fuck you.
Will, Riley. Hold on a second.
Fuckwit.
We are calling the police, ma'am.
You are fucking white male privileged assholes.
I'm calling the police right now.
What you are is a racist motherfucker as well. How dare you fucking do this kind of shit, asshole?
You're being videotaped. We will return this to the police.
Go ahead. Go right the fuck on ahead, you fucking sexist, misogynistic motherfuckers. That is all you are. You don't give a shit about women. You don't give a shit about life. All you are just a bunch of fucking assholes.
Are you calling the police?
Back off, man.
Are you calling the police?
Back off. Back off. Right now. You don't know what's about here.
All you are just a bunch of misogynistic motherfuckers. Take your male privilege somewhere else. No uterus, no right to talk about it. Understand me, motherfucker?
I'm listening to you.
No, I don't give a shit. Get the fuck out of my face, now. Your signs deserve to get fucked up. Go ahead, take me.
We're going to go outside. We're going to talk. That's what they need. You understand me?
Yeah.
We're going to go outside.
Can we talk to Mark and see what he's ready for talking?
Police out there.
Here was standing by his side, walking to a young in his face. But leading them so I could walk over with her.
Right, all I did was go into the office of my apartment development, right, and they refused to give me the form. I'll talk about that in a minute. This guy walked into the office when I was there, and now here he is parked out here, right? Stop stalking me, right? Don't ever stalk me again.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
About what?
Don't ever stalk me again.
Who's stalking you about
You. Laugh some more. Do it.
You're crazy.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Say to the camera that you're not stalking me.
I am not stalking you. I don't even know who you are.
Is that right?
That's right.
You want to give your name?
I do not need to. You want to give me yours? You want to give me yours? Yeah, I didn't think so. I have no idea who you are, lady. So, you know, you're dreaming. You think I'm stalking you. Good luck with that. Well,
Keep talking, why don't you?
Another way. We just need to, you need to call in, tell them I'm a free inhabitant and find out what that is.
Well, I am going to tow this vehicle, young lady, so you cannot be in this vehicle.
I understand that. So all right, then I'm going to get out of the vehicle and I'm going to walk down to that house
No,
because you do not have authority over me. Well, then I'm not getting out of the vehicle.
No, you're not.
Why?
You're not free to leave.
Why?
As soon as I conclude the rest of my investigation, you will be free to leave. As far as I know, you have not done anything wrong at this point, but you are slowly reaching to that point to 148 PC.
I'll get out of the vehicle for you. I will get out of the vehicle. I'm getting water.
All right, well, you're not free to leave. You're
no.
going to take the bag off.
No, I'm
You're going
not.
to take the bag off.
No, I'm not.
Relax your...
Hey! You're raping me.
All
This
right.
is rape.
Relax
This is
your arms.
rape. This is rape. This
Relax
is
your arms.
rape. This is rape.
Relax.
Okay.
Relax your arms.
It's relaxed.
Stop fighting with
It's
me.
relaxed.
Stop fighting with me. Stop fighting.
All right. I'm
Okay.
not fighting.
Center 2, 5, 6. I got a combative X-ray.
Here, I'm lifting my arm up. I'm lifting my
Leave
arm up.
your arm right
It
there.
hurt. Okay, I told you what I was doing.
This is pain compliance, okay? It's not meant to be comfortable.
This is
Do I have your
illegal.
attention?
This is completely illegal.
Relax your arm.
No.
I can't.
You're not putting me in the car. You can wait till you get to Superior. You are not taking my bag off. You can handcuff me with my bag on.
You're right, I will. Relax.
I'm relaxed. You got my bag! You got me my bag! You're gonna get in so much trouble, you son of a bitch! You're gonna get sued! You don't even know what you're doing! I'm telling you, I'm gonna fucking sue you!
Stop.
What's your name? Fucking Godona, you're gonna get arrested. You're gonna get fucking... Oh my God, you don't know your own laws!
Relax, young lady.
You don't know your own laws!
Relax, young lady.
I can't believe you just did this.
You need to calm down.
You're gonna get in trouble. You don't know your own laws.
Calm down.
You're illegally doing this. I told you I was a free inhabitant.
Calm down.
You are illegally doing this.
Young lady, calm down.
You are illegally doing this. I told you this is against my will. You did this illegal. You cut my bag.
All right, you're under arrest.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Give me my stuff.
Relax.
No.
You're
Leave me alone.
You can't have this big camera around.
You can go get your superior.
I will
go get, and I'm waiting right here. Go get your fucking superior. You son of a bitch! Give me my fucking... You fucking asshole!
You need to calm down.
You need to fucking learn your goddamn job because you don't know your fucking laws! Go get your superior and go get your fucking laws!
Let's go.
No! You son of a fucking bitch! Fuck you! You stupid son of a bitch! You don't know what you're fucking doing! You're gonna get fucking...
I am the feminist who is out to ruin your life. I am the feminist who is ruining your perfectly respectful marriage by suggesting Audre Lorde to the book club that your wife attends. And yes, I am the one who convinced her to get that shorter haircut that you pretend to like but don't really like. I am the feminist who is pushing your daughter down the slippery slope of sluthood by giving her a high five when she says she keeps her own supply of condoms. And incidentally, I've tried to turn her bisexual-gay, or bisexual-gay, or bisexual-gay, by recommending some dental dams. Yes, I am that hysterical feminist who demands trigger warnings on scenes of rape and violent sexual conduct. Yes, I am that militant, man-hating ball-buster who insists on opening the door for you just because I made physical contact with it first. I am that ice queen cunt who responds to your street-side compliment with her most frigid, "I didn't need your comment." I am out to infringe upon your rights and freedoms and extra room on the subway bestowed upon you for having a penis. I am absolutely a threat to your way of life.
And if you listen, MRAs should be, if you shut the fuck up and let me read my list, there's the fucking proof.
And so I obviously can't like.
So, number one, shut the fuck up for a second. Feminists do not want you to lose custody of your children. The assumption that women are naturally better caregivers is part of patriarchy. Feminists do not like commercials in which bumbling dads mess up the laundry and competent wives have to bustle in and fix it. The assumption that women... We're working on it and you guys are trying to dismantle it. But if you'd fucking listen...
I don't believe they do.
Then
why are you part of the organization?
Saying that we're trying to take away their rights? How are we trying to take away their rights?
Why?
Can you shut the fuck up for a second too?
Well,
so I can read my fucking list
how they
so you guys can actually answer those questions.
Does someone have the yellow flyer with that actual quote so we can both have it in front of us?
On a website or are these like policies on a
This is
website?
a list of the things that we're working towards. Now, if you would shut the fuck up for the 50th billion time,
we agree on.
These are things that we're agreeing on, and these are things that you you've actually all got skewed fucking views on. You think that feminists are trying to take away your fucking rights, but as a matter of fact, what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to work on the same things that you're working on, but except the fact that you're so you're just too busy hating women. You can't fucking see that we're trying to actually work on those same situations.
Some sort of citation where we actually state that we hate
I think.
Or are you conflating feminism, which is an ideology, with women?
So is MRA, but whatever, it's fine. Okay,
so you admit you're a hate group against feminists? You're still a hate
An
group?
ideology. Yes. I also hate a lot of other isms.
So you admit those?
Racism, sexism,
on this. Bullshit. Bullshit. You hate sexism, but you're an MRA. Okay, no, point taken. We win.
Obviously haven't read our literature.
Oh, okay.
Somebody
doesn't want to hear what we're actually here for, so you just want to talk over
You're not actually working on anything. You're just creating hatred towards feminism.
Yeah.
You don't actually work on anything.
You're
not creating any change in the fucking world.
Just actually shut the fuck up.
Your website, your fucking website's a hate website against feminists. You're not actually creating any change. You're not working towards anything. You just talk about how much you hate us for no reason.
Feminists do not want you to have to make alimony payments. Alimony is set up to combat the fact that women have been historically expected to prioritize domestic duties over professional goals, thus minimizing their earning potential as their traditional marriages end. The assumption... I'm reading, fuckface. I'm reading, fuckface. I'm reading, fuckface. I'm trying to I'm letting everybody else hear it, okay? It's not just for you, Mr. Entitled. The assumption that wives should make babies instead of money is part of patriarchy. That's right. Feminists!
Something that you've actually heard of.
Derailing for dummies. The author, people, everybody here. Here's the author. Derailing for dummies. What? Derailing for dummies. Because he doesn't like to actually stay on point. He likes to derail. Okay, that's great.
You made a statement. I said, where's it on our website? I asked a question. You made a statement. I asked a question.
This is what we're talking about. In general, I'm not talking dogs that need to be trained, that need to be put on a leash.
Well, if she says it's not...
We don't accept this. You know what? I don't give a shit if that's emasculated you, but it's not women's fault. It's not feminists' fault.
Why are you making the allegation?
To borrow a phrase you just used, the proof is in the pudding.
You folks enjoy yourselves, eh? We're enjoying ourselves. Bye for now. So, where are women under attack?
Yeah,
please explain.
You're from the Voice for Men, eh?
That's right.
The one who posts all those...
Oh, those criminals? Those criminals' identities? Yes, we did.
It's not your decision to decide who's criminal or not. And who's
I don't know, the video's kind of made it pretty clear. Very good, you can yell. How about we talk rationally? Why do we have to get off the campus? What are you so afraid of? What are you so afraid of in the discourse?
I'm not here, I belong. You're asking us that question. I helped build this university.
So you're afraid of questions?
We're afraid of fucking fascists! We're afraid of you guys!
Really? So feminism, having the only narrative, is not fascist?
Down with fascism!
I would seriously love for somebody to tell
You guys make a lot of rational
misogyny! Down with UNT! Spreading misogyny! Down with UNT! Spreading misogyny! Down with UNT! Spreading misogyny!
Meanwhile, U.S. students at the University of Yale have held a protest rally over racial tensions on their campus. The students marched across campus to protest what they called indifference to racism at the elite Ivy League school. Demonstration dubbed the March of Resilience came after several racially charged incidents at Yale. A fraternity reportedly didn't allow a woman into an open event because she wasn't white. Now, last week, president of the university held a meeting with angry students to hear about their complaints. Afterwards, he said that he sent a campus-wide email expressing his concerns over the atmosphere there.
Because you're moving closer to them. Right, because I'm still allowed to be right there. Okay. Yes, but you cannot push them to move closer. They're staying still. I'm not going to push them.
If you're with the media, you gotta back up behind those signs. That's what those signs say.
You need to back up, respect the students.
I am a student.
And I do my job.
They have asked you to respect their space. Move.
These students are walking forward. This is the direction that we are walking.
They're pushing me. They're pushing me.
They'll talk to you.
Everyone stop, Mama. Don't talk to me. All right, don't push me.
Yo.
I'm not pushing you.
Okay, well then we will just block you.
You need to step out of here now. You need to go.
Yep.
Students, can you tell him how
You don't have a right to take our photos.
You have a right to use your public space. The same First Amendment that protects you standing here. No, I do have the photo. I do have the right to take photos. First Amendment.
I can't hear you.
Excuse me. If you would like to take photos, you need to please give them space. You cannot be this close to them. Please.
They're being close to me.
What I'm
They've been pushing
saying
me
is,
back.
you need to move back. Yes, you
I don't have to move back.
Yes, you are. No, I don't. She does not want to take in front of her. Hey, go home. You think it's funny? You need to move.
I have a job to do. I'm documenting this for national news
You cannot be in front of them like this.
Yes, I can. This is the First Amendment that protects your right to stand here, protects mine.
You're not going to yell at her. So just calm down. You're not going to.
Okay, ma'am.
She doesn't want you. They don't want you in front of her.
Ma'am, don't yell at me. Ma'am, the First Amendment protects your right to be here and mine.
Okay, we protect our space.
There's not a law around that.
Forget a law. How about humanity and respect?
Well, how about documenting this for posterity?
Please, sir. Sir, I am sorry. These are people too. You need to back off.
No, there's no law.
You know what? Let's back off about personal space. Back off. Leave these students alone. Keep your hands. Back off. You need to back off. Go.
Don't push me.
We don't want you to tell our story. Not if you're going to act like that.
You don't have to decide how your story is told in the media.
Well, you know what? She needs to decide if she's going to talk to you or not.
She doesn't need to talk to me. I don't want her to talk to me.
She doesn't want to see you.
I don't want her to
I know that. You need to back up. I know that. I know that. I know you better back up.
What?
I know that.
Don't push me. Don't touch us.
We have an unethical reporter who won't leave. Excuse me. I need to get through. No, I need to get through. Are you not going to let me through?
She's in the way. I'm not in the way.
You have
Don't push me, ma'am.
Don't push me.
Sir, what's your name? Sir, can you please leave? You're with the Office of Greek Life?
My name is 1950.
Ma'am, are you with the Office of Greek Life?
No, my name is Concerned Student of 1950.
Hey, you gotta step back, bro.
Check it out. As the meeting with somebody telling you to stop, you gotta stop.
You gotta step back, bro.
You can't.
You don't have to stop. You're on public property.
You're right. You're all on public.
I don't want to talk. I want to document it.
You gotta go, bro.
Why does everyone think the media doesn't support you?
Just chill out. Just a second, bro. It ain't that serious, because they can call the police on you.
No, they actually can't because the law protects both of us being here. Yes, because your legislature don't pass a law saying students have the right to congregate on public spaces in universities.
You're harassing students. We say that you're harassing. Excuse me, sir.
You just touch her? Did you just touch her?
No, she touched me.
Tell us
You the one jumped.
respect for this community. What is so hard about respecting our bush?
Because I have a job to do. Yeah.
We don't care about your job.
They have a life to live. They have an education to get and a life to
Ma'am,
live.
I'm a
Please
student
live.
too.
But sir, these are more students who are asking you.
You need to calm down.
Okay, but that's my job.
And this is our friend. Our friend's life was on the line. We're asking you to respect that.
And I'm trying to document that for history.
Everybody else has documented
Everybody
it,
else
sir.
is
You
too,
got
but
your
they're being
own.
respectful.
You got it.
Everybody else
You
is too, but they're being
documented it.
respectful.
Please.
They're being respectful about it. Everybody else is too, but they're being respectful. You're
They
not.
just want to be together.
That's simple.
Okay, they are together.
No,
I'm not going
you are
in there right
no.
now.
No, you're not.
You're infringing on what they need right now, which is to be alone.
All right.
I need you.
You lost this one, bro. You lost this one, bro. Back up. You lost this one, bro. You just lost this one, bro. You lost this one, bro. Back up.
Hey, where the signs at? Just put the sign in his face. Pass
You lost this one, bro. Just back up. Just back up. You lost this fight. You lost this battle. Just back up.
Hey, it's over. Look, we got a perimeter. Get to the middle. They got a terrible shot to shoot.
Get away from him. You got the wall. Get away from him.
Please get this man on Twitter and Facebook. You're an unethical reporter. You do not respect
Get
our
away
space.
from him. You stay out. The wall stays out. Get them away. That's what we're here for. Now, inside, get away. They got nothing to do now.
We good, bro. We good. We gotta make this wall big. It's all good. I understand. Especially for disrespectful people like him.
No, I did not. He said San Diego. San Diego? There you go. Yeah. Okay, just push them all. What's your name? Okay. Well, it's going to push it.
Come on, man.
Nobody's touching you.
I know, but they'll change the story on you. They'll change the story on you.
I'm moving. I'm walking forward.
You're pushing me. You're pushing me.
We're being forward. We're walking.
You're not doing your job. You're not doing your job.
It's our right to walk forward, isn't it? I believe it's my right to walk forward.
Well, I'm media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out. You
Well,
need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right,